ritual today that will be more talking today. So one of our propagation methods now is that we broadcast live online. And though I thought that we weren't actually reaching anybody because it didn't say things on the Google, apparently there were a lot of people who watched. So we as our small little temple are really affecting people outside of Rochester, New York. We have inspired people in Thailand. We've inspired people in Kathmandu. We've inspired people in Florida, in Michigan, in Portland. It's amazing just what our little group has been able to do. So, I went for a month of training to split between Seattle and the Nichiren Buddhist International Center. And my time at the International Center was really intense. It was amazing. It's a week-long intensive with this time it was four other shamis like myself, junior priests, and it's called the Shami Seminar, Shami Workshop. And so in it, we have to learn the rituals necessary for the basic aspects, or the early aspects of being a priest. How to ring the bells correctly, what they mean, some basic stuff about the sutra. And what I realized was I am an idiot, and I don't really know very much. And that when given tests, I crumble. And as good a preacher as I thought I was, I could be a heck of a lot better. As good as I am or thought that I was at chanting the sutra, I could be better. As good as I hoped to be at Japanese, I could be so much better. And I realized a very interesting truth. So at the beginning of my trip, I was in Seattle with my teacher. I think initially with everyone, when they return to their teacher, their master, so to speak, it's never comfortable. Because your master is now, and I use this term, and it makes people uncomfortable in the West a lot of times, but I like the term. So I return to my master's keen eye, and he can act as this amazing mirror to all of my behaviors and actions and reactions to things. And it's amazing at times that we have this image of a Buddhist teacher as being this kind, benevolent soul. But any of us who have ever read about the Tibetan lineage of teaching through Naropa, Milarepa, and those realize that they're actually kind of sadistic in a weird way. That a good Buddhist teacher is a little bit sadistic. They are like Doubting Thomas. They can find that wound and they can poke that finger right in that wound and go, "Oh, is that your ego? Does it hurt when I do that?" So it's really interesting. And what I started to learn was as you progress on this path, there's no end, obviously, but as you progress on this path, after a while, certain places that you get poked don't hurt anymore. You're like, "Oh, yeah, I'm poked all day long." It's like a muscle, right? You can take a muscle that's totally in good shape, and you can press on it and press and press and press and press, and you feel no pain. But if there's a knot in there, even the slightest little is there. But once that knot's worked out, all of a sudden, the muscle relaxes and such. And you don't feel anything, no matter how much pressure is put there. So as you progress, different things affect you different ways. So initially, something that really bothered you eventually doesn't bother you anymore. And you think, "Oh, I got it. I got this. I got it." And then, the universe finds a way to find someplace else. And that's normal in our lives. But when we're doing our practice, we're using our practice to kind of holistically and naturally work those hard spots out, those rough spots in our muscles. It's very gentle using the daimoku, but it takes time and it takes a lot of effort. And you got to just gradually rub it every day, so to speak, to get rid of that knot. But when you have a Buddhist master, they are like a Swedish massage therapist who's just like, boom, like this is not the I'm just gonna rub on you. No, I'm gonna stick my finger in that and I'm gonna press really hard and I'm gonna break up all of that stuff. And you're gonna be sore when you're done. And you're gonna drink water and you're really gonna have to like work on yourself and take care of yourself because this is gonna hurt, but it's gonna work fast. And that's what having a master is like. And that's what happens to a teacher in Buddhism is like, is that it's not always about me or them patting you on the back. Sometimes it's them poking you in the side and to get you moving, to get you unstuck from where you're at. And as a teacher, as a leader, and because in the end, what we're trying to do as Enkyoji, the lineage, as Enkyoji, the network, as the group that spans the globe now, is to just make leaders, right? We're not out to build like big congregations or big organizations or buildings or structures. We're about human equity. If every person is treated as a future potential leader to lead other human beings, which means to recognize them as one of the bodhisattva from under the earth, one of the teachers of the Buddha, who's here because of their own merits, not because of us. I don't have to make you anything. All I have to do is remind you who you are. And who you are is a bodhisattva with a mission, right? And the only way that mission is achieved is through action. And it doesn't necessarily have to be knocking on doors and introducing people to the Buddha and stuff like that. It can just be by getting yourself unstuck, so that you're more able to be available to someone to help them get unstuck. So this first thing that I learned from Sensei, the first part of my trip, was he basically assigned a member of the congregation that is not my favorite person, who at this point in my life, I can deal with lots of different people, but it takes a really special soul to really push my buttons. And this particular person can push my buttons very easily. So, of course, Sensei's like, oh, goody. Does that hurt? Great. He's your project man. That's your responsibility. I want you with them as much as possible. And I'm actually going to egg them on to undermine you and backstab you as much as possible so that you can see this right there. And you need to act like a minister and not like Cody, who you used to be. And it's just, man, I'm struggling with this. I'm just like, it's just like, I'll be honest, in the back of my mind, I'm like, I don't have to deal with this in Rochester. Rochester's great. I mean, we got a great congregation. God, I'm so lucky, blah, blah, blah. I don't have to deal with nothing. So that was the place I initially went. And then I leave to go to the Shamiko, and I ended up getting hurt on the way there. And a tearing meniscus in my knee, and all of a sudden I can't do the things that I would normally do. I spent a year training to sit in Seiza, I wanted to show everyone that, I'm tough and I can do it, and this and that. I sat in the chair the whole time, they wouldn't let me, they told me to ice my knee, and I totally went from like, I'm a tough guy to like, I am nobody. I'm injured, I can't be all super cool and awesome and, show up everyone as super shami and stuff. I need help. I need everybody's help. I'll never forget, there was a point during training where the shamis came up to me and said, we want you on our breaks to sit down and ice your knee. Please, you don't have to do anything. And I just started bawling, I just started crying. Because I was just so grateful that they would think of me like that. And be so generous as to think of my needs, my welfare. And were willing to take up more of a load just so I could have that opportunity to ice my knee. And what I realized when I got back after all of this, Sensei says to me, what did you learn? What did you learn in your Shami training? He's like, what great things. What did you learn about yourself? It's like, I learned an asshole. I learned I'm not a good man. I'm no better than anybody else. Like, I'm just a schmuck, and everybody I've judged, there's no reason to judge them because in the end, they're no better than me. it doesn't mean I give them a pass for bad behavior, nor do I give myself a pass, but it's the realization that if I ever start to separate myself from other people and think, I understand something that they don't, I've lost it. I've created an other. I've forgotten that they are Buddha in progress too. And I realized that. And it was strange. I thought I realized something about ritual or how great an awesome preacher I am, but what I realized was I'm nothing without everyone else around me. I am nothing special. But anything special I have is not because of me, it's because of everyone and everything around me that came together to create it. And that I shouldn't necessarily push it away and feel guilty like I don't deserve it, nor should I hug it to me and feel like I do deserve it. I just got it and appreciate it. And it doesn't matter whether you got it because of good merit or luck or whatever. Accept it and use it for good. One of the issues in Shamiko that came up was this idea of vegetarianism versus being an omnivore. And some of the Shami and their masters were vegetarians. And in our tradition, that is not allowed. In Enkyoji, that is not allowed. And they were very much just like, what is wrong with that? Or that's wrong. Like, why do you guys do that? And I finally, had to just explain it in this way, which is that if I separate myself from the butcher, then I've also separated myself from his family. And then I've also separated myself from the person who drove the truck. And I've also separated myself from the people who at the checkout. And then I've also separated myself from the person who took out the groceries. I separated myself from the farmer who grew the corn that was eventually used for the feed. I separated myself all the way down the line. But then I also had to say that at this particular point, I also have to say that if I'm solely a vegetarian, I have to accept the fact that in the process of planting and creating that corn, an entire colony of mice were destroyed. I have to accept the fact that 3 foxes died. I have to accept the fact that 6 crows were poisoned. I have to, life is life. Is a human or a pig worth more than a cow or a rat or a mouse? And in the end, we are all murderers. We all are commensurate in the death of millions of sentient beings every day, even if it's just by purchasing something that eventually had a result, or making a decision that ended up affecting. The Buddha understood that this is just too complex of a web for human beings to be able to wrap your brain around. And nor should you sit around and worry about it and stress about it and feel guilty about it and try to do it. No. Use every moment of every day positively. Even a drop of water or a grain of rice is the result of meritorious work in our labor, and we use these benefits to perform a pure conduct of serving others. Let's do that. So that was one of the things I realized was I'm no better than anyone else. I can't be better than anyone else because then it separates me from other human beings. Then that means that I can't minister to somebody, that I can't be there for someone, and that I feel like I'm better, which closes off my heart. So that's what I came back with. I left with like, what the hell are you talking about, Sensei? Like this, this is really frustrating to, I am not a good man, but what I know is that it takes me back to one of my closest friends in college, who was a 60-year-old Peruvian woodcarver, who said, I'm an asshole, but because I'm an asshole, I know I have room to improve. And really, at a gut level, like I understood that. I was like, oh, I'm a work in progress. That I'm like the lotus flower. That again, the symbolism goes back to the lotus flower. If you think of the way a lotus grows in nature, is that it blooms simultaneously to seeding at the same time. And the seeds fall by just, eventually they're ripe, and when they fall, they fall. And the ones that actually make it to the bottom, that are deep enough, right? Because they have to be heavy. If they float, it'll die. The ones that make it to the bottom grow, and the ones that don't. That's just the natural way of things. Now, in the process of this beautiful plant flowering and also spreading itself, this flower isn't always perfect. Sometimes it's missing a leaf. Sometimes it grows funky and it's got like big leaves on one side and little leaves on the other. Does that stop the lotus flower from continuing to create seeds for the next lotus flowers? No. And that's us. We may not be perfect. We may be these bodhisattvas in progress, these Buddhas of potential. But it doesn't mean we have to wait until we reach our highest potential before spreading the Dharma, before planting the seeds of the lotus in other beings, right? In the world around us. Even if it's just that good feeling of, hey, you're acceptable. You're equal, I'm equal. You know, this land we're in is not a horrible place. It is a wonderful place. You know, yes, you might perceive it's like that, but let's work on that, right? Let's try to change the way that we look at that. So we don't have to be perfect to spread the Dharma. So when I returned to Seattle, this is what I took with me back. And immediately, crazy things started happening. I couldn't take the train home from the airport because I got in late and my knee was hurting and I just wasn't going to be able to make the transit to the SeaTac thing all the way down there in time. It was like 11 something at night. So I had to call someone I knew in the Ballard area to come pick me up right around Seattle and give me a ride. So on the way, she's like, hey, there's this cool park that used to be a gas station from the 1950s. It's got a giant cowboy hat and giant cowboy boots. And I was like, well, I have to see this. She was like, yeah, the cowboy boots used to be the bathrooms, the men and women's bathrooms. They painted them. It's so cool. I don't think I took a picture. I gotta find it. And the hat was where the main office was, but they cleared it out. Now the hat's just on these steel pillars and they've got benches underneath them and it's just a cool little park in an industrial area. And I was like, oh, that's totally cool. Let's go there. It's just like 11 something at night, you know. I was just like, okay, cool, let's go. So, you know, I'm sitting down and then all of a sudden, this woman, African American woman with a tight black thing tied around her head, about Maisha's size, maybe about 10 years younger than Maisha. She comes up, she's got like a cooler and some stuff, and she's just kind of like tweaking a little bit. And I'll be honest, initially, like, I was like, I don't have any money to give you. Seriously, yeah, here I am. Just got back from training, Buddhist priest, and my first reaction is, I ain't got nothing for you. I ain't got no money for you. Like, my heart was immediately like, and then, you know, she's like, no, I'm not asking for nothing, I just need to sit down. I was like, okay, cool. And then it was like, you know, I'm like, Jesus, I just, you know, wow. It's like, I feel like the Buddha did when he first got up. The first person he talked to, the guy's like, yeah, whatever, dude, and walked off. And didn't see anything special about the Buddha. And then the Buddha's first sermon was so fire hosed out with all this crazy stuff that people are like, what? And they walk off. So I'm like, oh my God, what do I do? Like, what do I do in this situation? God, I'm such a dickhead. I was like, remember you're an asshole? I was like, oh, okay, I can work with it. I'm an asshole, I can work with this. So I was like, what's going on? How can I be of service? And she was just like, she's like, I'm living in a van. I'm living with my old man, and it's a little tight in there. And right now, I just needed to get away from him. And we're just having a fight, and I just needed to get away from him because I just knew that I was just going to say something. And I was just like, I've been there. I've been there. And then we talked about what that felt like. So rather than judging it, we talked about what that felt, what it felt like physically, what it felt like in your stomach, what it felt like in your chest, you know. Then we talked about patterns, you know. I was like, why do you think you walked away? She's like, well, because we've done this 1,000 times. It would have taken 3 hours to have that fight, and we would still have to get back in the same damn van together later at the end of the 3 hours, and we would have just wasted all that time. I was like, yeah, energy too, right? I said, yeah. It was like, so we both got to this place that she understood it wasn't about holding grudges. It doesn't matter if the person was right or wrong in that particular point. You know, you can stop the cycle right there by not taking it personally, by realizing that they are acting as a mirror, and you need to act as a mirror for them by not reacting to them, by allowing them to see their behavior, by being calm. You know, I think we all have relationships where the most maddening thing was when the person we were with was very calm. Well, we're freaking out because all it did was make us realize that we're freaking out. Right? And then you're mad. They're like, why are you not freaking out? Because I'm freaking out. They're like, I'm not freaking out because you're freaking out. It's all cool. Just relax. So her name was Robin. And we ended up spending about 2.5 hours together. Her old man ended up coming over, and we ended up talking. By the end of this evening, I had taught him Shadaigo. They took the 3 treasures and converted from Islam to Buddhism in front of the moon, and we did a prayer to the moon gods. And it was really amazing. And I went back to find him, and I wasn't able to find him. But his nickname is Flipper. Stan is his government name. So if you should ever bump into Robin and Flipper, they're good Buddhists. So again, the most surprising things, like injuring your knee in a silly accident, not being able to do what you thought you were supposed to do, because in the end you were supposed to do something completely different. Would never have met Robin and Flipper if I hadn't hurt my knee. So in all of our life situations, we can't shake our fist at the heavens, because we don't know if it's because of the heavens or happenstance. But we can learn to deal with the situation as it is, Ji-So, ultimate reality as it is. And the way that we're able to do that is with our practice. So in the end, chanting Namu Myoho makes us more able to fluidly navigate life in a faster method, get over our crap quicker, realize that we're no better than the next person, but also realize that it's through our own efforts in our own practice, and then our sharing that practice with other people in whatever capacity that we share it in. You know, you might not share the same way Kaishin is. Kaishin might be like, I want to talk to you about the Dharma, but you might just be like, I want to talk to you about being nice to people, or you might just be around a coworker and you're like, oh man, I know you're really pissed at that person, but you never know, they might not act that same way next time. And it's like, it's just that little bit of something to help nudge them towards the bodhicitta, which means aspiration for enlightenment. And that's all we can do as Buddhists. Plant the seed, water it, and hope that they develop the aspiration to try to be a better person for the benefit of others. So having said that, we will have a short service. I'm going to do the opening shomyo and closing shomyo by myself, so you guys can hear some of the tonal things that I've learned from the shomyoshi. We're very particular about the way that they do it. And some of you are vocalists and musicians and such like that, so I want you to be able to hear the best rendition I can do today of it. We're going to do chapters 2 and 16 only. It will be a brief service because I'm not sure that I'll be able to stay and stays up for very long because of my knee. And then, yeah, I love you all. I'm so happy to see you. To see all of you here makes it all so worth it. At the hardest points of my training, it is you that I think of. It is literally each of you and your faces that I think of. When I think of the foundation of this temple, I think of Maisha. I call her my rock. She was the first member of this temple. She is the cornerstone of this temple. I think of Kaishin, who is here leading services when I'm not here, and who is my one and only direct student and future, one day, hopefully, pressure's not on, future minister in our tradition in the future. I think of William, who I'll serve as a budding leader in our tradition in whatever capacity he ends up growing into. I think of Ashley, who came to this practice as a way to help William, actually. The most noble of Bodhisattva aims was for her to experience William's practice better so that she could help him and be of more service and better understand him. I think of Bree, who came to this practice and probably is the one person that I think of who puts it visually into practice more than any other member. You were a much more closed off person at one point. You had armor, and you were tough, and you didn't let anybody in, and like you were very matter of fact about stuff, and you communicated like a barber with a razor. But you have this very calm and inspiring demeanor now that I think that we all appreciate, and your support of the temple has been great, and I really appreciate that. And your different logistical stuff that you seem to think of that I don't, much appreciated. You know, I want you to know that the fact that you come, like you may not come for several months, but I know you're going to come, and I know that every time I read Scoot's name, that you appreciate that, and so you are also, whether or not you realize it or not, one of the faces that helps to inspire my practice. You know, I know Scoot doesn't necessarily get to come a lot, nor maybe he doesn't like the drums and stuff, but like, you know, he's one of the members of our temple, like as far as I'm concerned, and so I really think about that. So each of you is integral to this. I couldn't do this without you. This temple couldn't stand without you, and we need you to be able to instill whatever this mojo that you guys have in the next generation. You know, we have our first two children born first generation into this temple. And not only into this temple, but it's actually first generation born into Nichiren Buddhism in America for non-Japanese. All right, so that's pretty big. So, you know, we want to realize that we are aunties and uncles to all of these little kids that are coming up, and they'll need to know to bow to Buddha. They'll need to know to wash their cup. They'll need to know how to dust the thing, how to say, you know, a service, how to chant. So we're their examples, and we want to pass this on because otherwise it's going to die. And if it's dependent on me, then we'll never last because at some point the mission is going to call me elsewhere, and someone else will take up the buy, and they will lead this temple, and after them another person, and after them another person. So we need to think into the 10th, 20th, 100th minister in this temple, not just the founding minister. So. So again, sorry for the gimpiness. Well, I will be more deft than you. please turn to the invocation. Now, during the invocation, what I learned was that you will, this is an appropriate time for the invocation, is to use your juzu together like this if you have juzu, otherwise put your hand in gasho. In the next portion for kaitoge, generally when you raise it up, you want to raise it above your eyes. For ministers, it requires that you memorize the texts. So for us, we do it kind of just below eye level so that you can still read it, but realize ideally, for ministers, we have to have it closed and we hold it above eye level slightly. So, little fine-tuning things. Page 5, invocation. Honor be to the great mandala, the perfect circle of all honorable ones revealed by our founder Nichiren Shonin. Honor be to the eternal Buddha Sakyamuni, our original teacher, the Lord of the Dharma, our great benefactor who attained enlightenment in the remotest past. Honor be to the Sutra of the Lotus Flower, the wonderful Dharma, the teaching of equality, the great wisdom, the one vehicle. Honor be to our founder, the great Bodhisattva Nichiren Shonin, dispatched by our original Buddha. Honor be to Renge Ajari Nichiji Shonin, the first overseas missionary. Honor be to the protective deities of the Dharma. We honor all of you. May you come to this consecrated place of your compassion towards us. See us with the light of your wisdom and accept our offering of chanting the sutra and Amen Yo Renge Kyo. Aitoge. In honor of being home, good in English. Verses for opening the sutra. The most profound and wonderful teaching is presented in this sutra. This sutra is difficult to meet even once in thousands and millions of aeons. Now we have been able to see, hear, receive, and keep this sutra. May we understand the most excellent teaching of the Tathagata. The most excellent teaching of the great vehicle is very difficult for us to understand. We shall be able to approach enlightenment when we see, hear, or touch this sutra. Expounding is the Buddha's wisdom. Expounded is the Buddha's truth. The letters composing the sutra are the Buddha's manifestation. Just as perfume is taught by something put nearby, so shall we be richly benefited by this sutra, even when we are not aware of being so benefited, because infinite merits are accumulated in this sutra. We can expiate our past transgressions, do good deeds, and attain Buddhahood by the merits of this sutra. It does not matter whether we are wise or not, or whether we believe the sutra or slander it. This sutra is the most wonderful and most excellent taught by the Buddhas of the past, present, and future. May we meet and receive it, birth after birth, world after world. Page 11, please. O Renge Kyo, Oben Kondai ni, Niji se san ju san nayan jo ni ji go shari no tsu shou bu chi e jin ju o chi e on nan ge nan ju sai shou on yagu shi tsu shou tu no shi shou wei sha ga tsu shou shin gan yagu shen man no ku mu shu shou tsu shin yo shou tsu yo no yu no shou yo shou bu mon yo yu jin jin ni yo bu o ji ni yo setsu ri shu nan ge shai wasu no yo bu ki dai shu ju rin nen ju ju ri yu ko en mon yo mu shu o en in no shu yo yo ri shou yaku shou ri sha ga shou ai ho en chi ken hara mitsu kai gu soku shari rosu no ai chi ken ko dai ten nan mu yo mu ge iki zu shou sen jo ge gatsu san ai chin yu mu sai do yu ri sai ni shou mu ho shari rosu no ai no shu ju kun metsu kyo 自我特有来東京商工収無料百千万億サヤソキ東京系空収億収上領入国収録未来有料国領収上公弁権明暗に見せる別領上級にせとが中央商品中力道天皇修上水管理文献中堅化熱道航空量大現代連邦に小活動新修上基新福祉新柔軟に新欲見物空気尺新上非が重修上空出動でセな非合修上上在非空活理合弁理合研究別別上国修上空上新上者者空合理中理節空上合上上空本気短気が別上者検証有上物在六空大航空理研修上上上活動理上新年度内出理設法人中力上制度遊び合格要求選挙要上中上中上健康人大が上昇理が指導安穏天然上中安穏全上上各種中央上上中大定が中上上中楽上天各天中上差中理学不満大が三物空大中華上上空気気中天上天部部上空上上定出中満定上大上上理学上円年マハソギゴ空門三本上上空中中六入は地理者相対現が身体心理作動環境に新州節物入力内現部差異節物満期が地理上で構造無料中の無中高空中高小国語公文記者 Moto, Shijo, Nito, Ranyo, Yojin, Butsugo, Jippo, Yogi, Zenko, and Kiki, Shijo, Jitsuzai, Nippon, Shibu, no Senko, Modai, Ari, Sebu, Shoku, Rinkai, Nippon, Kendo, Jitsuzai, Nippon, Matsuri, Yo, Kenkato, Nisho, Yoshi, Jinho, Itsukaku, Gozu, Kao, Akugo, Shukago, Shishu, Jojo, Goku, Jojo, Shujo, Jokato, Ise, Shujo, Ho, Sase, Ikaro, Shujo, Goku, Shujo, Jojo, Please turn to page 84. When in training, this is the standard Gosho, the standard letter from Nichiren Shonen that we read. And so I wanted to share this with you. Learning and practicing. Shohoji so sho. Having faith in the great Mandala Gohansen, the most venerable one in the entire world, earnestly endeavor to strengthen your faith, so that you may be blessed with the protective powers of Shakyamuni Buddha, the Buddha of many treasures, and Buddhas in manifestation throughout the universe. Strive to carry out the two ways of practice and learning. Without practice and learning, Buddhism will cease to exist. Endeavor yourself and cause others to practice these two ways of learning and practice, which stem from faith. If possible, please spread even a word or a phrase of the sutra to others. So what you can do in this situation is take 2 sticks of incense, break them into 3 equal-sized pieces, light all 3 ends, and lay all 3 of them in the box, and use that in place of putting a charcoal down the basket. A little technique I learned from Sensei. Just such a situation when I forgot, you have to take 2 of those, or 3 of them. When I forgot to put the charcoal for offering incense, and Sensei I was like, I panicked. And he's like, just take the incense sticks, break them into equal-sized pieces, put them together, light one end really, really well. So it's not that much on, and then just lay it all as a bundle in there, and then you can offer just right on top of it. So now we will chant the old Namu Namu Enkyoji, and when question has the this is ready. Direct you to. So remember to chant kind of up and out, bright and open. You know, we in Nichiren Shu, our chanting is meant to be a celebration and a gift to the universe. So make it bright and happy. Okay. Let's read it together. Chapter 60 or page 66. The difficulty of retaining the sutra. From chapter 11, Beholding the Stupa of Treasures. It is difficult to keep this sutra. I shall be glad to see anyone begin even for a moment. So will another Buddhas. He will be praised by all the Buddhas. He will be a man of valor, a man of endeavor. He should be considered to have already observed the precepts and practice of Buddha. He will quickly attain the unsurpassed enlightenment of the Buddha. Anyone who reads and recites this sutra in the future is a true son of man. He shall be considered to live on the stage of purity and good. Anyone after my extinction who understands the meaning of this sutra will be the eye of the world of God. And anyone who expounds this sutra even for a moment in respectful will should be honored with offerings by all gods and men. 68. I'm a link in Lord Buddha's golden chain of love that stretches around the world. I must keep my link bright and strong. I will try to be kind and gentle to every living thing and protect all who are weaker than myself. I will try to think pure and beautiful thoughts, to say pure and beautiful words, and to do pure and beautiful deeds, knowing that what I do now depends on my happiness and misery. May every link in Lord Buddha's golden chain of love become bright and strong, and may we all attain perfect peace. We respectfully dedicate all our merits now gathered to the great benevolent teacher, Shakyamuni, the eternal Buddha, to the supreme teaching, the Lotus Sutra, to the leader of the declining latter age of the Dharma, our founder, the great Bodhisattva Nichiren and Shonin, and to the protective deities of the Dharma. May all beings under the heavens and within the four seas live in accordance with the wonderful Dharma. May the wonderful Dharma spread throughout the 10,000 years of the declining latter age of the Dharma. May we realize this world is the eternal Buddha's pure one. May peace permeate all the world and all beings enjoy peace and happiness. May all beings live in safety and live long without misfortune. May the peace and happiness last forever and all beings be prosperous. We pray that all beings awaken to the true nature of reality, which is the Buddha Dharma. May all beings of all realms be helped equally, overcome suffering, and gain the happiness of blissful liberation through the merits of following the teaching of the Lotus Sutra. We pray for the spirits of our ancestors and for all the spirits of the universe. We especially pray first for those in sickness and distress. We pray for Lynn Bigelow, my mother. We pray for Scoop, the greatest dog ever. We pray for Phil Rogalski and the Rogalski family. We pray for Ted Day. We pray for the Jordan family, Fred Jordan and his brother. We pray for you, Rune Ferguson, Ellen Lawson, Garrett Floyd, and Garen Floyd. Sean Tompkins, Sarah Morrell, Damian Reddick, Wendy Prevost, Jason Wellman, Jesse Schaefer, Provide Lovejoy, Javier Gillen, Bob Magoon, Brandon Lucy, Armin Laverne, Issa Simmons, Belinda Grasso, Belinda Williams, Douglas Conrad, Antoinette Moon, Mrs. Case, Manny Figueroa, Luther Smart, Jerome Cushman, Martin Hardaway. We pray for those as well who have passed. We pray for William Smith, for Maria Valentin, Deidre Hossett, William Thomas, Aunt Barbara, Joseph and Elaine Winter, Harry Bakeland, Bill Neer Sensei, Cosgrove Jordan, Shay Kroll, Clarence Kroll, Albert Rivas, Carol Moore, Jack Parker, Dan Sunkala, Edward Williams, Betty Nixon, Cheryl Cushman, Jean Knott, Lucy Mosier, and James Mosier, Katrina Petrikowski, Pat LaMonica, Roberto and Maria, Nancy Lau, Tilly, Cheryl Jones, also known as Sissy, Minch, our most recent loss, and Ian Smith. May we purify our minds, limit our desires, and learn to be content. Feel free to experience the quiet, unassuming joys of life and learn to abandon all attachment formed in the wrong. It is my personal wish that this temple be blessed, and all of the members and practitioners of this temple, and all of our Enkyoji lineage temples, as well as all the sanghas and temples around the world, those who practice Buddhism and those who do not. Please bless them and help them to become leaders for all of humanity, so that we can be a better service to other beings. With this prayer, we endeavor to increase our understanding and appreciation of what others have given and contributed to us, and to develop constant, mindful consideration of how our thoughts and actions will beneficially contribute to others. Amen. Now we will read the four great vows, Shibu Seigan, page 77 and 78. Shujo Muhin Seigando.
Sentient beings are innumerable. I vow to save them all.
Onno Mushu Seigandan.
Our defilements are inexhaustible. I vow to quench them all.
Omon Mujin Seiganchi.
The Buddha's teachings are immeasurable. I vow to know them all.
Utsudo Mujo Seiganjo.
The way of the Buddha is unexcelled. I vow to attain the path sublime.
With this body, until I attain Buddhahood, I shall uphold my faith in the Lotus Sutra. Amen. be where you like and come again at a different passion. Thank you all very much today for your wonderful efforts. It was wonderful to be home, to hear all of your voices. You know, this is one of the things that I realized when I was there was I didn't have my backup choir. I didn't have my backup singers, so I didn't know what to do. But you guys are fantastic. You were the, not to sound trite, you were the wind beneath my wings. I appreciate all of you so much. What I've realized is that as a leader, if you are solely doing these things for yourself, you will not be able to do them. It's only when you have others to support you that it becomes effortless, and you have the energy to do it. So remember that. It's those people around you that are the ones that give you that reason to be better every day and to help other people. So keep being inspired by everybody around you. Thank you very much. For broadcast. And to those at home, thank you very much for tuning in today. I have no idea if it was 1 or 1,001 people, but thank you for sharing our practice with us today, and we will see you again next week. That was the first one.